All right. Mold Dominion. We're here with Bandit. First question. Got the new album out. Tell us about your plans to promote the album. Where you said you guys have a tour coming up.
We are working on booking a tour in August with Japan, and we're going to be bringing our friends from the Czech Republic over to Cultivate. We toured with them in Europe. They played Obscene Extreme with us. So that's going to be fucking sick. That should be announced probably within the next couple of months, or the next month or so.
Awesome.
That'll be the details about that will be. Any other plans?
We have another Philly show on June 1st, and then in September we're also going to Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Oh, really? Have you played Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Man, that's a strange town.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We got our special underwear.
Our Mormon pajamas. Yeah.
I knew it was great because when I got to my hotel, you could tell the door had been kicked in. That's when you know you're at.
Did they do a good job of repairing it or no?
Well, there were a lot of things wrong, but this interview isn't about my hotel room.
Yeah.
So let's keep it about you guys. Second thing, you mentioned Chupang, your new drummer is from Chupang.
Yes,
if you tell us about him, and did it change the way that you guys wrote the record? Did you have some of the record written before he joined the band? Like, how did it change what you guys did?
We had the entire record written before Govinda joined the band, and I demoed everything using Easy Drummer and guitar plugins on the computer. So that was a very streamlined process, being able to just send him the tracks and then go to practice, and he would have a basic idea of what we were doing. That was really cool. But it was very interesting. Our old drummer, Michael, had this very intuitive sense of groove that he had been developing over years and years of just listening to rock music. And Govinda only plays fucking blast beats. So all of the stuff that Michael excelled at doing, Govinda just cannot do. A 4/4 backbeat. Govinda could never play AC/DC. So there were some very weird things where 260 beat per minute blast beats, he was just knocking it out.
Wow.
And then I'd be like, can you do the, and he went, no. It's very interesting, very different dynamic to
Wow.
that. But I have to give him credit, he learned the entire album, which it took us 3 years to write. He learned it we started learning it at the end of December, and we recorded at the end of February.
Wow.
So he had the two shortest months of the year.
Yeah, props to him.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's awesome.
He's a total G. He's asleep in this car right now. So he's a hardworking guy.
I think that tells us all we need to know about him, that he's asleep in his car right now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So every time I've seen you guys, it's been crazy. Gene, you get up in the audience's space and start shit. I've seen you break your own merch table.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So now that you guys have played a bunch of shows, is there one show in particular that you guys played that's just been super gonzo?
Every time we play Philly, it is just madness. I mean, we played a venue in West Philly called Echo Base, which was in a warehouse. And at one point during the last song, I found a sledgehammer and I just started hammering the floor. And then the next day they announced they weren't having shows there anymore.
Yeah.
So
R.I.P. Echo Base.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Sorry.
Echo Base.
Sorry, guys.
That's awesome.
We also obviously Obscene Extreme. It was the craziest.
Yeah.
Weird,
they loved you guys.
Yeah. I've never felt more welcomed by a crowd.
Well, I've thought about it about that particular show. It's almost like a holy church of grindcore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because other festivals, grindcore bands play.
Yeah.
But that festival's about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the real crazy heads are out for that show. Yeah. Can't wait to play it again.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. We sound checked. I just remember the day before our Airbnb was a half a mile away from the venue, and I could hear bands playing. And then when we sound checked, I was just chugging on my guitar.
Thanks,
and it was just. I'm just thinking, this is the loudest I will ever be in my whole life. And it was so much fun. I felt
Yeah, I had a lot of fun there too. And Dismember played.
Yeah.
They were sick.
That was great.
So a lot of times when you make records, you learn from a previous record what to do or what not to do on the next record. Is there anything that you guys did consciously different from the last time that you guys recorded?
Well, it's funny, the Warsaw was just almost had a power violence kind of chaotic energy, and it is very intense. And this time we were let's try to write songs, and so we have minute-long and 2-minute-long songs that feel more like fleshed out and have dynamics. And what we want to do with each album is just do something new.
Yeah.
Because a lot of bands can just re-release the same album over and over. And
And they do.
Yeah, and even if
And
it's a good
shout
album,
out to AC/DC, man.
Yeah,
But that's not our vibe. You know?
Yeah.
And like grindcore is the coolest thing ever. It's like nothing, no piece of art, no art or form of music represents how I feel in my head more than like the first Nazem EP. You know what I mean? But that like grindcore LPs are really tough to make them like cool and interesting all the way through. And like I hate long songs, I hate long albums.
I've always thought that the 7-inch is the grindcore LP.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like a perfect 12-minute 7-inch. You know, so when you stretch it out into longer, records than that, you really have to try to mix it up if you're gonna. You know, most extreme metal records when you first put them on, like within the first 30 seconds, you know what you're gonna get. Much.
For the rest of it,
yeah, you know,
that's
even if it's cool.
Even if it, I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but I just felt like my biggest thing was I just didn't want to take all of the good ideas from a 7-inch and stretch them into an LP. I just wanted to avoid that as much as possible and actually have something that like is worth listening to all of it.
It's a sick record, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Gene, I really loved your lyrics on the record.
Ooh, thank you.
The word poetic, you know, I thought they were very poetic and very born out of, you know, I could tell born out of, you know, intense personal experience.
Thank you.
Is there anything you can add about like what was the motivation or the inspiration behind what you wrote?
Well, I mean, there's really only one lyrical inspiration, and it's you, right? I mean, I like you and maybe like Les Claypool or some like Roger Waters or shit like that. And I like, you know, you talk about flowery, poetic language, and you were the first guy who I saw use that in grindcore. And I realized that to make it my own, I would just make it about personal things that had happened to me, much like you did. And you know, the fucking 3 years we had to record that album, and the drummer change, and the pandemic, and just all the trials and tribulations just really formulated into these songs that I you know, when we play them live, I get emotional still.
Well, you definitely made them your own because they didn't remind me of anybody else's lyrics.
Good.
They felt very, you know, unique.
Yeah.
Last question. Was there any thought about naming the album A Well-Muscled Cowboy Gorilla? Because the cover art possibilities alone, like
much stronger.
A well-muscled cowboy gorilla.
That's the line, right?
It is the line. That is the line.
Like when I read that, I was like, "That's my favorite line on this record."
It's up there for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
You should.
But I just wanted to bring that line up because I was like, you know what? That's a gangster ass line right there.
I do drink a lot of Muscle Milk.
He does.
So that kind of shout out Muscle Milk if you're looking for a sponsor.
Sponsorships, baby.
Yeah.
He has so many old Muscle Milk bottles in his trunk that we almost couldn't fit my amper.
Yeah.
So you have a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
all right.
We overdo it, even in our sobriety. We overdo it.
Yeah. Well, Oscar Wilde said everything in moderation, including moderation.
Thanks, sir. Absolutely.
Wise words. Anything else you guys want to let the people know before we close the book?
Thank you for putting it on CD.
Yeah, we appreciate you putting the CD out.
Honored to do it.
We got we got the show tonight. We got the tour with Chip Hong in August. June 1st, we're playing House of Yargo with Deterioration. It's gonna be a banger. Shout out Deterioration. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Let's finish with your dog tattoo.
Yeah. This is my dog.
Get the dog tattoo. Yeah. That's your actual dog?
That's my actual dog.
Nice.
Well, that's not actually her, but
It's a tattoo of the actual dog.
All right.
Killer. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.